I'm gonna find. And I'm gonna kill every last one of them.
It's been 7 years since The Last of Us was released. Met with wide critical and audience acclaim, it quickly became a classic. Today, it's regarded as one of the best video games of all time. The Last of Us adopted a darker, more somber tone that complemented its unconventional cinematic approach to storytelling. This method allowed it to tell the tale of its melancholic anti-hero Joel and his struggle with humanity and morality in a post-apocalyptic zombie-infested world, touching on the themes of grief, identity, and belonging along the way through the lens of his companion and driving force of the story, Ellie. The focus on storytelling gave room for a more layered story and impressive world building. It's no wonder the game left an impact on its audience. However, this did not come without its downsides though, as gameplay felt lacking and one note, resulting in both casual gamers and the more competitive ones feeling alienated. So, keeping that in mind, you can see that Part 2 had some big shoes to fill and high expectations to meet. So, did it? And does the sequel justify its existence, given the conclusive ending of its predecessor? The Last of Us Part 2 pushes the PS4 to its limits to present a breathtaking game with stunning vistas, immaculately detailed environments, and intricate character design. It's not a stretch to call it one of the most beautiful-looking games of the current generation. The aesthetic of Part 2's world helps mirror the psyches and moral judgment of the inhabitants of its dystopian world. This, accompanied by a score from returning composer Gustavo Santaolalla, that exquisitely conveys the tone of each scene in which it is present, all serve to immerse the players in the world they roam and the events they journey through. The game does a fantastic job in building up the environmental aesthetic of the original Last of Us, but it's not where it stops improving. Gameplay gets an upgrade too, using the mechanics of the original as a starting point. Combat against human enemies is more fun and dynamic, adding very satisfying kill animations to keep players engaged. The game also rewards and encourages a more stealth-based approach to dealing with enemies that in many ways feels more fulfilling than the more garish approach. However, this trend does not carry over to zombie combat. Their AI proves to be very erratic, making fighting them feel like a chore as they maneuver inconsistently and swarm you in a suffocating fashion. Note that if you're not just primarily interested in getting through the story, a good recommendation would be to play on a high difficulty setting to maximize your enjoyment, as players on the lower end difficulties complain the combat could feel repetitive at times. Making your way through the sections requires solving environmental puzzles, which are clever and interesting, forcing the player to think about how they can use the environment to get from point A to point B, while encountering small puzzles along the way that provide valuable loot, which aids you in your endeavors. Add to that a weapons and skill upgrade system that carries over to future replays, and you have enough for players to stay engaged. The biggest misstep in Part 2, however, has to do with its storytelling. The structure makes keeping up with the narrative difficult, particularly around the middle. Switching perspectives and spending a good chunk of the game on a quest that ends up being inconsequential has a high chance of hindering the player's interest. Even so, Part 2 does make up for its structural shortcomings with a phenomenal, tearful, and powerful ending, as well as heartfelt and intense character moments, impactful only as a result of meticulous character development by the writers. These moments serve to highlight the thematic richness of the story, with one at the end that changes your perspective on the events that build up to it, making you reflect on the choices made on your voyage. The game is prepossessing, with significantly improved mechanics compared to its predecessor, and a story that feels disjointed but is filled with gripping moments and likable, empathetic characters. That justifies its existence by its exploration of themes that carry a natural continuity from the originals. The Last of Us Part 2 is deserving of a rating of 4 Nerdblenders. Played through the game already? Tell us your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching.